Now, let's talk about brainstorming. And this is, I'm sure, most of you will say, oh, I'm an expert on that. I do brainstorming. Because brainstorming is not very well structured. So everybody think that you sit in a table, you start talking, and you are doing brainstorming. You know, you ask someone to put a flip chart, and someone start taking notes. Oh, we are doing a brainstorming. Stop. This is not the aim of brainstorming. This is why most of the brainstorms are not effective. First, brainstorm is presential, and it's used for high volume of risks. And of course, you don't discuss complex risks on that, but we are talking about more operational risks. And it's a very creative and synergic process, because I start saying and someone can build on what I'm saying. It's a very good teamwork. But you need to understand some clear rules. First, there is no brainstorming with 200 people. You don't do that. Brainstorming 4, 5, 6 max. Otherwise it becomes a mess. If you have 200 people, you create groups of 6 people, you create groups, and then you define with this group the scope, and then you combine all the results. So you use brainstorming and then an NGT. But it's very important that you understand on the brainstorming process that if you don't manage it properly, this is why we require a very strong facilitator, because if you don't manage this process, the chaos dominates. And another problem on the brainstorming, you need to understand that some kind of personalities can dominate the process. And those people that are more introverted, they tend to be less comfortable of speaking up. So the role of the facilitator is very critical. Another advice I want to give to you on the brainstorming process is that don't even think about making very long brainstorming processes, because it does not make any sense. Over time, so in half an hour or a little bit more than half an hour, it's more than enough. Brainstorming must be fast. So now let me explain to you the 6 steps of the brainstorming process. The first step is you need to identify the scope. Did you say? I'm repeating again. Then you define who will facilitate. This person. You saw this in the other process, but this person is a key person on the process. So you need to have a very strong, because the brainstorm, the work of the facilitator is critical, because I need to make people that are more introverted to speak up, and I need to slow down those who tend to dominate. And then I define the list of participants. I create this short, compact session, 20 minutes, half an hour. Then we get all the information. You compile the answers, and then you fill your risk register. But one important point I want to tell you, most of the time I take photos of these brainstorming sections, because remember, it's very important to have a pace. So you cannot spend hours discussing and crafting. So you need to have a very fluid process, sharp, fast, and fluid process. Then you take photos, and then you compile the answers afterwards.